A different interview today. Today, we're not gonna have just a globe person, but a globe opportunity. We'll learn how you can make your dreams being reality and know and learn how you can go and visit in different places and different opportunities. I would like to introduce to you Ana Paula Castro, who is the manager of operation of AFS, and one of the participants who is a live person who can share with us all the experience she had with AFS, Patricia Mc Gahan. Welcome, Patricia and Ana Paula.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Alex. It's nice to be able to meet you.
Okay, so first of all, we have to describe for the people to know what is really AFS. We're talking about a century organization who make people to make their dreams and especially to learn things what are outside of the world, all these opportunities. So, Ana Paula, share with us a little bit what is really AFS.
AFS, starting from the name, American Field Service. For me, it's more about belonging and everybody together working for the same mission, the same idea. But the history starts 100 years ago with a group of doctors. They get together as volunteers to help in the First World War. So they provide ambulances and their service as doctors. And then they participate on the Second World War. And the idea was to not consider the side of the soldier, or so they wanted to help independent on the country and the person who was hurt. So what the feeling was that they could help, but they felt a bit frustrated because they wanted to provide peace and not be limited to help as a doctor. So when they returned to US, they felt that I can do better than that. So let's work tolerance. Let's make people meet each other's culture. So it can generate more understanding. So they started the exchange program long time ago. But that was the idea.
But so today was like AFL, like all the participants, they have an opportunity to do or study in on a foreign country. They learn the cultural, the aspects, what it bring them a different opportunities. But it's not limited only for the traditional exchange student, correct?
Correct. Nowadays, we are a nonprofit organization. We have an office in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil, and in more than 50 countries around. And we still run the program, high school program, the tradition, as you said, to many places, to more than 50 countries. But we still, we offer programs for adults as well, as volunteer, internship, language programs for teachers. We also host students in Brazil, the same in adult programs and high school programs. And we have a volunteer group of 900 volunteers right now as a team, as a family in Brazil.
Paula, now we get a great opportunity here. You know what? Because we learned the process, we learned the institution, and now we're gonna go to the person who passed for all that and take this for her own life. So Patricia, tell us, how was your experience, first of all, as an AFS participant? Because you're an American, right?
And I was a high school senior I'm originally from California, and I had wanted to travel abroad. As a young person, my family hosted exchange students, and so I wanted the experience. So I applied to AFS because, as Anna said, AFS is a program, it's actually the world's oldest international student exchange. So I was interested, honestly, in a program that really was trying to build upon peace. So myself, I looked at different programs because at the time that I came, there were quite a variety of different programs available. But AFS, because it is, as Anna said, it's nonprofit. There's the families are volunteers. They're opening their hearts, they're opening their homes for either summer programs for as a student. As Anna said, now it's expanded to adults, but I came and I had a choice to apply for a 3-month summer program or a full year program. So I really wanted the challenge. So I went for the year program, and I was quite lucky. I was one chosen, but at that time, no internet. And when I found out, because honestly, you give choices as far as places that you want to possibly visit. So honestly, because of my family hosting Japanese exchange students, my first choice honestly was Japan. My second choice, a country in Europe. My third choice, a country in South America. So I opened the envelope and it's Brazil. And I was like, but it absolutely was. And I went from California to New York, and then to New York to Rio de Janeiro, and then from Rio de Janeiro to Porto Alegre. And I stayed with the Oderich family for a full year. And it opened my eyes in such an incredible way, because honestly, I was already interested in Japan, but having an experience in South America as a North American, but with a family in the South that had a lot of blend of different cultural aspects. So I was in Brazil, but with being with a German community in Brazil, and then I was able to travel quite a bit. So to me, it was really amazing as far as diversity. And it was my first major experience traveling abroad. So it just opened my eyes in so many ways. But a key point that I'd like to say for young people, I was a pretty shy girl at that time and not so confident. It really helped me to build my confidence and to expand my horizons. That was a major part of my experience.
Betty, I still with you, and I want to go a little bit further than that, because my point here is like the experience you had in Brazil, this change cultures. Now you're in Tokyo, now you live in Japan. So it was like, I want to know how much impact and learning process for a different culture to change from United States to Brazil, how much that prepare you to be today a completely different cultural again, because now you're in Japan. So how much impact that bring to you?
Actually huge, because it really made me focus. And I was debating honestly between education and working within special education or something within international relations. As Americans, we all have to go at that time, and maybe Anna can explain the present situation, but at that time, when you were going abroad, we went to New York to the headquarters and had orientation, and it was right across from the UN. And I had dreamed as a young kid, perhaps becoming someone involved with the United Nations. So being able to have that experience, but going back to the States after having an incredible opening of my mind and struggling honestly with language and struggling with homesickness, struggling with different things that you do when you live abroad, but it built character and it challenged me. So when I returned to the States, I did enter an international relations program in university and had a few additional exchange program situations as a university student. But I believe that honestly, with the connection with Brazil and being able to see the world from various corners, because Brazil, there's such a diversity. In America, we have a strong diversity of cultures also, but in Brazil, were Americans and all of America, but I just felt the impact was very strong, and I already had interest in Asia. I had interest in other places of the world, but it just opened my mind in a completely different way than I had anticipated before I left. So I would say that as young people, and especially something that when like a first choice, a second choice, a third choice. And at first it was like, whoa, this is my third choice. But it was wonderful because I had already been geared to the first choice, the second choice. So I felt it really expanded my viewpoint. So that was wonderful. And then over the years, I was extremely fortunate with the connections that I made during that time. Those have been really some of the strongest connections actually in my life, and that I really feel the impact of that. And I know many other AFSers that have had similar type of experience, that were the people that they meet during that experience. Maybe you lose contact, but then later I regained contact, because quite honestly, in the days with Isa's family, there was probably about a 10-year span where we didn't communicate so much. But then yeah, with the internet coming back, then Isa and I found each other on the internet, and then we reconnected, honestly. And then with the family for, now the past 15 years, we've been reconnected. So that's been a wonderful point too. And I know many other AFS students that kind of connection, the effect that you have with your families that you meet, experiences that you have, makes major difference in your life.
We just get it here. You mentioned Isa and you mentioned Oderich family. We talk about Heloisa Oderich, who's your host family in Brazil, for the people that our audience to be aware who we're talking about. But I need to go back to Ana Paula and say, Ana Paula, that's the proper statement. AFS words. You can see the on the person who brought. I'm talking about decades of experience, and it still impact how much that program works. So I want you to share now with us. You probably listen a lot of these statements, a lot of these experiences that people have, and it must be such a great background and great feedback to make the program keep going.
But actually, I'd like to speak a little bit about what she said, the empowerment, and how she felt that she was like shy, and how it helped in that way. But we call superpowers what you gained, because as AFS, as I said, I've been working for the exchange programs since forever, I think 25 years, I think. But for AFS, I started 5 years ago, and it happened a huge difference in my personal life, to be honest, because now I understand the mission. It's not about selling programs. It's not about it. And as the perfect example you gave me, it feels warm my heart, because what we do during the process. So once the person decides I want to go in an exchange program, as you know, we prepare this person with orientations, and we really care. So AFS is about caring. So what we need the student, the adult, or the teenager to understand that what can you get from it, and who you are. So when you are 15, 16, of course, you don't know what you're going to face, because you don't know how you're going to feel. You need to understand yourself better to be able to understand the big picture. And so we try to understand who the student is, the family here, natural family we call, and present the real expectation. I mean, try to present a little bit about the reality they're going to face there. And of course, not, I always say that's not Disney program. So it's not red carpet. So you're going to leave the opportunity. You're not going to watch. So you're going to suffer. You're going to have fun. You're going to grow. So we call superpowers what you can gain there. So it depends on what you need and who you are. So sometimes you are not shy, you have difficulties, different difficulties, as everyone, every human being. And we try to understand you're not going to learn English or learn Swedish or learn a language. Now you're going to change if you let. But AFS is here to welcome you and make you belong and understand who you are, I think. And the superpowers we call exactly how you become different and the power and that you feel you got it, because you have to value your effort. It would be sad if you go and say, okay, I did an exchange program and it was fun. It's not rich enough, I think. No, I went there and I struggled and I gained this, and it's more about you understand what you did, what the effort, what you gained, how you are different now, and we can guide preparing here during the program, as Patricia knows as well, Heloisa as well. During the program, there are orientations, there are meetings, there are lots of events, and when they come back, they still have orientation when they return from the program to put it together to make it, you know, more tangible, I would say.
Fantastic. It's what I see is like the whole propose is to give a person the opportunity to learn something else, what the foreigner and the international opportunities will give you, and then the quite of such a great addition. And then Patricia, I need to go back to you and you tell me, because I know nothing was too easy. I know all the cultural aspects and the challenges, but you also, after Brazil, you still have another international opportunities, and you finalize. Now you're in Japan. Tell about a little bit how that comes to the practical way. You know, so you were in Brazil, and then you go back to America, and then it'll say, so since I faced Brazil, I challenged Brazil, I won, and now I'm ready for everywhere.
Actually, that was somewhat it, but I went back to the California and I went to university, and again, the university that I went to, it didn't have a direct exchange to Japan. So I was in my third year of university, and this fantastic professor that I had, he was an East Asian history professor. And he said, yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a direct exchange, but you could work in Japan. And this was when I was in my third year. And I thought, work in Japan, really? But whoa, I don't speak Japanese. But honestly, I rose to the challenge because I really did want to go. So I started studying Japanese in my third year. I studied for about a year and a half. This is the days before internet. I went to San Francisco with a telephone book and honestly 10 companies, and I wrote to 10 companies, and I was extremely lucky that Sony came to the States, and I was interviewed with Sony and was able to land a job. And after I graduated, I came and worked for Sony for a couple of years. And yeah, that was just an incredible experience. But quite honestly, I still was a young person. I wanted an experience of working in the States, and some of the knowledge I had gained with Sony is dealing with video production. So I returned to the States, did video production work, wrote a book about video production. But when I first worked for Sony, I was interested in trying to come back, but I wanted that bridge between a little bit more working experience. But I kept in contact with Sony, and honestly, after 7 years being back in the States, I was able to return and work for Sony a second time. And yeah, then after that, I just really fell in love with a lot of aspects of Japan. But I've been very fortunate to travel in many places of the world. And I've also been really fortunate with this AFS connection. And this is an honest story, but I just 3 days ago, I met a woman that's in this new program at the school that I'm involved in, and she's a former AFSer. So over the years, the different connections that I've met with individuals that have been involved with AFS, I've been really rather surprised, actually. So this, for me, it was a combination of wanting to be able to study other cultures and experience other cultures. So Japan it was an initial experience with the first exchange students that we had in my own family were from Japan. So that, I think, oftentimes first experiences we have really influence us. But I was extremely fortunate in both ways with my family, because I really feel education begins at home. And my family welcomed exchange students from various countries, honestly. So that really opened, but then myself being able to have that experience. And now with continuing with other families, it just really opens your eyes. But we live in a very virtual world now.
It is.
But I do want to just add the point that with AFS and under the circumstances that we're involved in now with the COVID pandemic, that AFS honestly is providing certain programs online, so you can have experiences in the real world, experiences in the virtual world. But I hope as young people will challenge the real world. Oftentimes our world becomes so virtual, and the combination of things that you can do in a virtual world, but still to challenge those things in the real world and meeting real people. And as Anna said, there's ups and downs. It was a wonderful experience, but of course I was homesick at times. I had to challenge certain things. I did become rather ill when I was traveling in Brazil one time, but it taught people to, challenge yourselves, and you'll be amazed at how much you can give to life and how much life will give back to you.
Yeah, we're talking before we start this interview, and also I learned you get also an experience in Poland, and as we service, we do it glow person, glow patient. We always try to make we want to learn all the challenges you have at a person in a foreign countries, and I want you to describe a little bit the health situation you face in Poland and how you deal on that, because that's just one more things, because definitely all this experience to be in a different country, different culture, and face this challenge, how do you deal on that?
Yeah, because honestly, I've been extremely lucky to travel to more than 20 different countries, and I've had small experiences with health issues, but nothing that was really major. And I've been lucky in my life to not have any kind of major health issues. But when I was in Poland, I was there to give some lectures at a university, and it was during the winter. And one of my kind of fears that I had to go to Poland in the wintertime was perhaps slipping on the ice. And sure enough, I slipped on the ice and ended up breaking my arm in 2 places. And one fracture that was a bit major, and I needed to have surgery to put the bones back together. So I had to undergo a surgical procedure in Poland. And I been fortunate with languages, but Polish, it was the first time for me to visit Poland, and I really had zero Polish. And I ended up, fortunately, the doctor that I worked with, I had to have 2 surgeons. They both spoke English, so I could communicate with the doctor, but honestly, with the nurses and various staff members, it was, a tough situation. But the surgery was done very well, and I was really lucky with the care that I received. But then honestly, all of the documentation, especially, I had to come back. I was in the middle of the semester. I needed to return. I was involved with this major program at a school that I work with. So I was lucky that I could get the surgery, but I had to return. But I needed a lot of follow-up care back in Japan. It took me 6 months basically to get my arm be able to work again. So all the documents, everything was in Polish. And I remember, honestly contacting Isa, because Isa's really good with computers. And I said, Isa, I can't even get it. I was honestly starting Globe Patient at that point and trying to work with being able to offer a service that provides language, but provides a lot of information that you as a patient could have, because this is the key point that I think too, with different experiences that we have in life, information that we have, information that other people have, and how you can kind of share that information, but how you can be a little bit more in control of that information. So I was, very fortunate with Lisa's help that she was able to help me with some of the language barriers, but then the overall information that with through Globe Patient that you as a person can have, but then honestly doctors can use also. So I really think the bridge that Globe Patient is providing is very helpful, and it definitely helped me. And it's something that I hope to be able to continue and to use. And I hope that the system will grow, that people will be able to understand how useful it can be. So it was an incredible experience that I had in Poland. It was one of the hardest things I went through, having surgery in a foreign country completely on my own, but I overcame it. And we can take to the challenges, but health is a key point. And without the different background and the different services to help us.
And definitely on this last 2 years we're facing it, health never was as much as important it is right now. And Ana Paula, the thing is that I want to describe a little bit the fact like AFS. I can identify a lot of people involved in a different positions. Now you have the families, the participants, the volunteers. So can you describe that, the whole system, how the system works? Because I'm telling you, definitely this interview will be so inspirational, because you're going to make a lot of people, wow, where I can find, how I can get in, definitely it's a great opportunity. Please try to describe us a little bit the system and since the beginning and how the process goes, please.
Of course. It's a volunteer organization, as I said before, non-profit. So there are AFS partners everywhere. So we are more than 50 countries around the world. In Brazil, there is an office in Rio with 14 staff. There are about 900 volunteers helping, and they are the owners of AFS because it's a volunteer organization. So there are chapters in 90 regions, we call. The chapters have a president of the chapter and different people in different jobs. And you can offer a host family because we host the students here. So there are, as Heloisa's family was for Patricia. So there are host families hosting around 300, 400 students per year in a regular year, not a pandemic year. There are opportunities for mobility. So they go for exchange programs as a high school program or a volunteer program, internship program, language program. And there also are, because of the pandemic, we came up with some virtual programs so they can do exchange, but not with mobility. Because of the situation we are right now, we call it virtual programs. There are many different options. And also, let me see what I forgot to say. But well, I think it's pretty much the structure we have.
The thing is, this is like the whole program, all the people could be integrated. And then, and as you can see, Patricia just described how that whole process impact on her. Patricia, I need to go back to Tokyo because, come on, Tokyo is the center of the world. And then, I'm a sports journalist. You know, I'm already accredited to be at Tokyo Olympics, and I need to ask this question to you because the way I see, and I understand the whole impact Tokyo has right now. We are facing a state emergency there, all restrictions, but I can see the world look like missing some good opportunity. I think the world wants to see Olympics. The Olympics and Paralympics will be inspirational for us. How you feel to this, such a challenge?
Well, honestly, it's been an incredible, year and a half really that this pandemic has started and then grown. And honestly, Japan had made an incredible effort to really put on an Olympics that was going to be focused in so many ways to help with restoration for individuals, because I think going back honestly to 2011, Japan experienced a major earthquake, major tsunami that really devastated the northern area. So Japan was looking at this to try to help to restore, exactly as you said, Alex, to try to give people something to help them and give them strength, and also with showcasing with the Olympics, but the Paralympics. I have been impressed with Japan, how Japan is really trying to boost the Paralympics to a higher level. But quite honestly, it's really been mixed. There's been a lot of controversy about the Olympics, but hopefully people will be able to be safe. Japan is working very strongly with that and trying to have the Olympics be successful. But a key part of it, I think, is really trying to bring people together to show people how our world, we can cross borders and we can try to help each other in different ways. But going back to the issues, to really with the Olympics, how did the Olympics originally start? It is trying to bring people together. It's a similar concept with AFS and trying to bring and build bridges that help with creating more of a peaceful world and a world that is healthier, being athletic, doing exercises, doing things that challenge you to be a stronger person. The competition is there and to compete with each other, but in a way that where you build friendships and you build life together and with the teams and the support. So we're still facing, as we're talking now in April, it's just over the weekend, honestly, I was walking through a train station and this was Saturday. It said, it was the countdown, 90 days to the Olympics, 120 days to the Paralympics. And Japan's still working on trying to have this be possible, where I welcome this challenge because, with the various controversies with it, but I hope people will open their hearts and open their minds to trying to do something in a positive way. But we'll see how it all pulls off. But I wish good luck to the various athletes that have been training for a long time, and the teams and different individuals. A lot of local communities in Japan have been trying to work with the support. There's different elements of this. And again, the aspects of people and the economic aspects of this have been quite hard on a lot of people. So trying to hopefully be able to regain some positivity with it.
And you know what, you did the approach I would like to share with Ana Paula, because passing or dealing with the pandemic thing and try to bring the people together as the proposal of the AFS, as was the Olympic movement. And Paula, what's gonna come on AFS, right, dealing with this moment and what's coming up?
We are working case by case, so we manage even in 2020 to send students and host students. It was a miracle. Really, war. It was. I think it's the war expertise we have that helped us. Actually, I can mention the example of during the pandemic in March last year, AFS decided evacuation. That's the one that I wanted to say. So AFS decided, it wasn't up to the parents. We decided to send the students home for the safety in March last year.
Good decision.
It was, but it was difficult because some people didn't understand, because it was very new. And for us, it wasn't about, again, money at all. It was about safety. So that's what we explained to the parents. We don't know what you're going to deal with, but this is scary. So we sent everyone back home, more than 5,000 students in March last year.
You know,
so,
as I completely understand the process, I completely understand. And I just can say that you show how much serious and compromise with the whole family system you were involved, right? It's fantastic the way you guys approach that.
It was the craziest moment of my life, and not only my life, of course. It's a little piece, but it was like people working. I was working from my bed. We didn't sleep at all. So we are calling airports, embassies, air companies that were closing. We had to reissue a ticket. There was no ticket. People were staying in another country because the connection was canceled. So we had groups around. It was a nightmare, but everyone was safe in their places. Everyone. So mission accomplished for me. And for really amazing, I would say, in the mid of the year, we were starting sending again and hosting again. So of course, not the same number, but I think we are really warriors, and I'm really thankful to all team we have in Brazil as well and around the world, because sometimes I feel like the sending person, as an example, she was like, so you talk to the family, you arrange everything, you work the orientation, and then there's the country is not open, so you have to go back, step back, and rethink and reorganize, and sometimes you reroute to other countries, the student. So we did a lot of that. So the person was like planning to go to Europe, and then we rerouted to South America, let's say. It happens. It's more about the opportunity, the exchange, not the country itself. So it's a lot going on right now, but we still here firm, working on it. And I think for all of us, who would guess that it would last so long, We thought about a few months, and we still don't know, even with vaccination, and we still don't know when it's going to stop. So we won't stop. We keep going.
Fantastic. No, that's what it is. And we here at the Glow Person, Go Patient, we have a very positive approach. And we always promote this in our interviews here. We always try to make people to understand this is a challenge we all facing, but we're gonna deal with that. We're gonna face. We're gonna beat this. And that was what I'm talking right now. And Patricia is with me here, and then we have this. All these pictures were shown as a participant on AFS, and at such a good moments. And you see, and you mentioned, they prepare you for the challenge. So how will be Patricia in the role after this, or dealing with this?
I think, well, in life, we, different paths that we can choose, but a key point that I would like to stress is not to be afraid and to rise to the challenges. And I really think fear is something that really stifles us. It pulls us back, but to try to stay strong. And I think what can we give? Not only what can we take? So I know that there's still so many different question marks. And as Paula mentioned too, or Anna mentioned, that we don't really know what's going to happen. The variants are still out there, but anytime in life, and we go through cycles in life, the world has faced pandemics before, it's faced serious situations, but we as humans usually have that spirit to come back and try to make the place where we are ourselves hopefully stronger and better. But I hope people will be willing to give and look for the positivity in places where there are difficult times. There is a lot of negativity, there is a lot of struggle that we're having. Unfortunately, in the world, we still see a lot of racism, we still see a lot of violence, we still see a lot of discrimination. But I hope that through these various challenges that people will find the good in themselves and try to bring out more good to interactions that they have. So hopefully through this we'll come out on the other end stronger, which I definitely did through my experience with AFS. That's the key message that I would really like to say, especially to younger people, but at any age. And I really feel fortunate too, that at any age we can learn and not be closed to learning and trying new things. So hopefully we'll continue with education really for life, and health is a key point. We've got to stay healthy.
Fantastic, fantastic. Ana Paula, well, how we can, people would, I know a lot of people will be so interested to meet, to learn a little bit more. FS, can you please just describe how that process goes, and tell your last message for our participation here?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here. It was amazing seeing the pictures of Patricia, her experience, the impact in your life, and how I think we need that. We need that love, we need that experience, we need that positive impact. We need nice words right now. We can, I'm here to welcome all inquiries and everyone who wants to participate, being as a volunteer or participating on a program. We have many opportunities for all of us, no limit of age as well, starting from 14 years old. We have, there are an office in Rio, but everybody is home office right now, as all the world, I believe. So there's a landline, there are some WhatsApp available on our website. The site is afs.org.br. And if they click on Fale Conosco, so you can contact us and fill a form.
Thank you very much, Ana Paula. Thank you very much, Patricia. Your experience today, all the moments, all the whole challenge you not just you provide, but you face. We can see how good it is to be a globe person. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.